I'm Melissa Lane, and welcome to the LifeKraft podcast. LifeKraft is passionate about helping you live your everyday life better by sharing inspiration, awareness, and tools to enable you to create a fulfilling life. On this episode of the LifeKraft podcast, we have financial planner Adele Barnard. This is the third episode of our Monday Money Matters series, created to help you become your most abundant self. In this episode, we take a look at budgeting hacks. Adele talks us through simple things we can do in our everyday lives to save money and to optimize how we budget. Are you ready to be inspired? Tag at the LifeKraft and at Adele.Barnard in your stories and share a screenshot with us of your favorite takeaway from this episode. Adele, welcome back to the LifeKraft podcast. I can't wait to get going with today's episode on our May Money Month. We have gotten into so many great topics in regards to our money mindset, how to budget, and emergency funds and things like that. But today we're going to do a really nice topic, and that is budget hacks. So how can we cut back? How can we save money with our budget? What hacks do you have to share with us today?
Melissa, thank you so much for having me once again. I'm so excited. Like the saying goes, you plan to fail, fails to plan. And with our budget hacks or budgeting, planning is key. So basically with budget hacks is we want to buy a lot of things, or we want to purchase so that either our cost per unit is lower, or we cash in on when specials are, or typically we want to have or form part of the loyalty reward system, whether it's with our bank or certain retailers. And if we do it, it's an exercise. So we either do it monthly, so that per annum we say, okay, we've got X amount of the groceries or cleaning products and the likes. Because if we don't plan, and it's those impulsive purchases when we go to the shops, we don't plan accordingly. You know, some of the things, the lack of things just jump into your trolley. You get the or you have
it doesn't matter what was on your grocery list. There's always a couple of things that you didn't plan for. No, I know. I've been there.
Exactly. And we need to prevent that, because if we know, okay, we set aside X amount of money for X items, and we need to stick to that. And that is where the main hack in this comes from, basically. So firstly, what we'll look at is stockpiling. I don't know how familiar the listeners are with stockpiling. So
I wasn't familiar with stockpiling at all until I heard you doing an Instagram live with someone who does that. So explain to us, because it's fascinating. I think our listeners would love this principle.
It's amazing. So we buy things, or you'll grow up and your mom will buy certain things in bulk, and you're like, okay, cool, there's probably method in this madness. But last year I saw on Facebook a group, One Family, One Stockpile, and I reached out and I chatted to the owner, the founder of the group, which is Nkumisa and Delu, and she explained to me what stockpiling is. And the fascinating thing is, so predominantly the group is female orientated, so it's basically for moms of households. But we said, like, stockpiling is so universal. It's the concept of purchasing. So it's not your typical your fresh produce. It's more toiletries and cleaning products and the likes that you purchase in bulk. So whether if you see a special at Macro or Game or Spar or Checkers or Pick n Pay or Woolies or wherever, that you buy that in bulk. So you'll set out a certain list of items, you'll buy it in months X or Y, and the next month you check what's the next special. What's lovely is it's starting a community. So whether you're sharing the tips with family or friends, so that you always know, okay, cool, like this is where the special is at, to be woke and to know to cash in. Because at the end of the day, we need to be loyal towards ourselves, because it's our money, we work hard for our money, and we need to get as much as possible bang for our buck. The consumer is under pressure. I've mentioned in a previous podcast, like you said, fuel's on the rise, and we pay a lot of taxes and the likes. So we need to literally be intentional with every single rand that we spend.
And just starting to shop smarter, not just going for a dopamine hit or just thinking you'll just pick up one or two things, but actually planning on those things. I call them my monthlies. Those things know you'll always need. Whether it's just something that's got to be in the house from month to month. So I love the principle of stockpiling. So how do you get started with something like stockpiling? And then off of that, we can also start looking at things like loyalty and rewards, because I always thought that was just some other trick that the companies used to get me to get one of those cards. And then my purse is just full of cards from every single grocery outlet out there. But you started getting me onto the whole principle that you can actually save money that way and that there's actually benefit to it. So let's get going with the stockpiling, and then we can just go to the loyalty cards from there.
Okay, so ideally, what you want to end up with is that you only purchase like your fresh produce, your meats, or your veggies, or whatever. That would be now weekly or however you do your groceries. So your toiletries, especially, so you'll make a list of what you use, and like cleaning products, and non-perishable food items, if it's now healthy pastas or sauces or whatever the case might be, or canned goods, tinned goods, you make a list of those, the things that you need and use in your pantry. And also something that you'll love and agree with is meal planning is key, and it goes hand in hand with so that you purchase those items. So if you see it's on a buy 3 for 2, then you cash in on that month and you buy the tins of whatever, so it can last you for the next couple of months, because in essence you want to pay a lower price per unit for the item. In the same sense with the stockpiling, it's also very key that your cupboards, it doesn't have to be very neat and tidy, but then it needs to be neat and tidy in the sense of so that you can also monitor and you put it, in order, and that you also work very sparingly with the items. For me, people won't know this, but I am like very stingy. My boyfriend got me this thing from Take a Lot. I don't know what you call it, but for your toothpaste, like to get the last bit out, then I can squeeze it out. Or for me with cleaning products, I'll cut it open and get the last drop of everything, because over time you end up saving. So that is what
makeup as well. I always do that with makeup. My friends have made fun of me. I cut it open. There's so much foundation left. Never buy the glass or hard plastic containers. Get the soft squeeze ones, and then you cut it open at the end of the month and you've got like a lot of foundation left.
Melissa, preach. I'm so glad you're touching I'm so glad you're actually touching on the makeup one as well, especially since we are females. The makeup one, what I do is, so I'm also quite a sucker. The thing is, it shouldn't become very time consuming, but I mean, we've got time. We always have time. We just need to plan. So whether you do it on weekends, whatever. So I'll always check where the specials are, the beauty specials. One of my favorite stores, they also always have it, where if you buy 2 items, it's 20% discount and whatever. So I'll even buy 2 foundations and it will last me the entire year almost. So it can also go for your makeup and the likes that you can apply to as well. It's just about being savvy with your money. It's about being, if you shop at retailer X, Y, and Z, monitor what they have and cash in accordingly. That is what it comes down to. But also at the same time, and my friends and I, we have these conversations, it's like, okay, but sometimes for me, if I'm at shop X, it doesn't make sense to go now to shop Y if you can get, but that's where the planning comes in, to know, okay, plan your trips and where you're going to go to and what you need to purchase.
That's brilliant. I like that so much. So in regards to the stockpiling, we have an idea of how to do that now. And I like that we are aiming for the lowest price per unit, because sometimes it doesn't feel like you're saving if you're spending more money buying bulk. But the principle is lower price per unit is key. Then with the loyalty cards and the reward cards, explain that to me, because I am still like the type of person to want to throw them all out and just have my essential cards in my purse. Yeah. So you say that we can actually use this as a budget hack. How?
I can just share something very quickly with you. My friends literally mock me whenever we go out at a restaurant. Like, I almost have my purse is like a mini clutch, just of all the cards. So I don't. believe in the concept. I don't have any retail accounts. So I've got my check account, and then I've got my credit card, and I'll use my credit card also to cash in on the loyalty points. I'm with F&B, so I've got the e-bucks, especially on the fuel. It becomes quite worthwhile. And then also with your other retailers, like it's important to get the reward system or card from the retailer that you use. If you don't use whichever retailer, like cut that card up and don't use it. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to accumulate those points over time. So whether it's you get the quarterly cash back, you want to be rewarded. And the retailers know this. They know it's tough out there. They know they need to compete for the public, for the individual's money. So they're going to incentivize us by shopping at their store shop and where we can get money back. So I'm quite a fan. For me, I always check. I'll check online. So that's how I do my things, grocery shopping, whatever. I'll check online and I'll be like, okay, cool. The dishwashing liquid or whatever is buy 2 for 40 Rand, whatever the case might be. And I'll cash in on those and I'll check online where it is at. Because also I don't want to be driving like an entire Saturday up and down hunting specials down. That's also not my style. So whichever works for you. But I think the main thing is just being mindful with every Rand that you spend.
Yeah, definitely. And I like the way that you look at it in regards to trying to save every single place. And especially, it's kind of the same principle like investing where you use the most money. That's one of the investing tips that everyone gives, but also getting the rewards back, getting the loyalty points back, getting those things back where you spend all of your hard-earned cash every single month and actually planning for that. I'm not the type of person to ever look at those special pamphlets. So are you saying we need to start looking at those pamphlets more, grabbing the pamphlet when you go to the store, checking it online, those types of things have got to become part of your regular financial planning, actually?
Absolutely. So there's two sides of the coin. If you're an individual and you you don't worry, you just do all your shopping at one place and it's convenient and you know time is your money or whatever, then go for it. But if the consumer or like the general consumer, I think in SA that is under pressure, there's a method in the madness to look at all the specials and plan, work through the specials. And obviously the other problem with that is sometimes you can be tempted now, you start looking at things you don't even need, but you need to remain focused and say, this is what I need. And retailer X and Y and Z has got this on special. So whether you look at the pamphlets or online, figure out a way that works for you so that you can optimally stockpile accordingly. And that's why I said earlier, like whether it's it's chickpeas now or toothpaste or whatever the case might be, work accordingly. Because the retailers also, it's quite interesting to see if you follow it, or I've been doing it for me as I don't want to say relaxation, but I've just been monitoring since I've become aware of stockpiling, is how the retailers will always be quite relatively synonymous. So you'll see like coffee, then the big three retailers will sometimes all have a special going and the likes. Just yesterday, Business Tech released in the news, like they compared a basket of goods between the big retailers in SA and how those prices differed. I'll send you the link. It was quite interesting as well.
That is fantastic. Okay, great. Do you have any other hacks that we missed just to end off with?
So something that I've realized or I've seen is I think we've become quite lazy. Well, I'm also quite lazy when it comes to cooking and the likes. And being lazy, it comes at a price or at a cost. So the things that the pre-cut veggies, which is much more convenient, which I always say I'll rather buy that as opposed to me standing in the kitchen for hours, it does come at a price. So I think one needs to have a conversation with yourself. Cool, am I going to buy on special, 5 kilograms of X amount of veggies or whatever, and actually use everything before it goes to waste? Or do I only need X amount? And if it's pre-cut up and it saves me time to do something else, have that conversation. So it's part of your lifestyle. So whatever hack you figure out, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. Absolutely not. And also, we should also become more of a sharing economy. So I've seen, we've chatted between our peers and the likes, even in families. So some of the especially now with fruits and vegetables. Some of the retailers, they've got these massive where you buy in bulk, but I mean, what do we do with 10 kilograms of potatoes that you share and the likes?
Yes, I like that principle. And I think it also just gets you to connect more with your community. So I think we need to start looking, a lot of us, we stay alone, or we've got these little atomic families that don't have big families around, not a lot of contacts. It's just you go to your home and then you go to work and you go to the shops, but actually getting to know the people in your community, buying bulk together and just living in a different way to really just get through this little slump that we are in right now, because I'm still very, very optimistic about the future of finances, especially if we start learning these things. So I love that. We've got so many great hacks. I can't wait for next week. I think next week is going to be one that people are really going to enjoy. I know when I started my own journey with living a debt-free life, that is going to be the topic. It was just profound. It's so great to live a debt-free life, to understand debt. So I can't wait for us to get going with that topic next week.
Great stuff. Melissa, thanks so much for having me. And one tip before I go, something that's becoming very trendy, also a budget hack, is people are lockdown also enforced it, but the fact that everyone is like starting their own herb gardens, we've done it as well. I can't wait for our mint and the things to come through, but that's also very trendy and something people need to start looking into, to have your own produce, make it create it at home. But yes, catch you next week. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm so glad that having a herb garden and things like thrifting have started becoming budget hacks, and it's so great for our environment as well, not just making more, but actually using what we have and then sending it out into the world, into the community, to just make someone else happy. If the people that are listening, if our listeners have any other budgeting hacks that they use, I would love it if you guys share it in the comments below. Write a review about it. If you learned something in this episode, I'd love to know more. And share it with Adele as well, and tag us at the LifeKraft. We'd love to know what your other budgeting hacks are, and then we will catch you next week with our Living a Debt-Free Life episode. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to share your takeaway or something you heard that motivated or inspired you, we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and tag at the LifeKraft on Instagram. Also, feel free to let us know who you'd like to see appear on this show in future. We enjoy bringing you interviews from experts and everyday people so that they can talk about their experiences and share information, tips, and what has worked for them on their journey towards a better life. However, remember that the opinions or advice of our guests and myself, the host, should not be taken as personal, actionable advice and is given as general information and education only. Please always remember to consult a qualified professional before implementing any medical, financial, legal, or other advice that you believe might work for you. LifeKraft is not responsible nor liable for your decision when implementing anything you hear on the podcast. Please listen and act responsibly. The opinions of our guests do not represent the opinions or views of LifeKraft or Melissa Lane personally and are meant as information and general education only. Education only.